Sorry about that, traders. I've been talking for 3 minutes and didn't start streaming. Sorry about that. Well, let's try that all over again. This is Doc from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I've been yakking away without going on streaming. It's Monday. It's been, the weekend was fine. Markets, when it came to news and the markets and the economy, not much really. Friday was a little tough. They kept on, Thursday and Friday kept on showing hotter inflation again. We keep on seeing that. But at the same time, the markets are really hungry, or let's put it this way, the administration is really hungry to get the interest rates cut. They want them cut. They want them down. You're talking about 5.25%, 5.5%. Now this morning, let me just show you. You can see there's the dollar index on there. And you can see the dollar is coming down. So that means, obviously, interest rates must be coming down. Let's take a look at the bond. Right there's the bond right there. And you can see it doesn't look like it's coming down, so I don't know why they're reaching for it. But let's put the dollar index back up, and let me go take a look at the bond on the old platform, and we'll show you that. Maybe that'll give us more insight to what is going on here. Let's see, there's the bond. It's a tick or two up. There's no doubt about that. Let's show you that. There's the bond on the platform we use right now. And then I showed you on the one on the beta. And you can see here the weekly is trying to turn back up again. And you can see we're a little bit higher this morning. But to justify, let's take a look at the dollar index. The dollar index looks pretty firm this morning, falling. So there it is right there. Now it doesn't look as tenacious there. That's interesting. So yeah, that's the bad quote. That's a bad quote we're getting on our beta. So you can see the dollar index is not at, where are they saying it's at? Oh, actually it is. They're saying that it's, I see. They're saying the dollar index, oh, that's odd. There's Friday. Let's just put this up there. We'll show you what I'm looking at. And it's confusing me a little bit. You see that there. You can see the Friday quote right there. There's Friday. That's not, oh, I see what's going on. Okay, it's giving me last night. That's what it's doing. So let's change that too. That's the challenge with our old platform. It has the ability to read electronic markets or outcry, what they call exchange traded, and then they can jump around and sometimes it picks up a second day and picks up Sunday nights, that type of thing. Let's see where we at. Let's go to the 24-hour, and that'll probably straighten it out. There we are. And close. And see, that's there. That's the 15th. So that makes sense. And you can see what I'm looking at right here on the beta, on the dollar index there. You can see it's that's it right there. That makes sense. Now the question is this the 18th doing that? And it is I saw it trading at 99. But they have it. I'm a little confused altogether there. Let's go over and check it out. I'm going to go to the exchange itself. Let me go to the exchange on another machine and take a look at what they reflect. Sometimes it's these pre-markets. In other words, I guess in Chicago they just started trading at 8:30. So if that's a 15-minute delay, what'll happen is it'll straighten itself out at 8:45. And next 8 minutes, that type of thing. Now let me go over to the exchange and take a look and see what they're quoting it there. There, and there. There we go. Huh. Yeah, they're showing it. They're showing it at 1.8. Oh, that's the bond. Okay, that's the bond. I'm looking at the bond. Let me go to the futures contract itself. See if we have that in there. There it is right there, dollar index. Okay. Yeah, so it's just kind of, it'll straighten itself out once they start trading normal hours in the next 40 minutes or so, or 30 minutes. But over here on the old platform, you can see that it's nowhere near as dramatic because it's live, that's why. See, that one there is live. That's what we show you, the live one, not the 15-minute delayed. The beta is a 15-minute delayed at the moment because we're still trying to get it to run right. And let's go over to the dollar index itself right there. And there it is. And oh, I know what I need to do. I need to change it from, let's see, there it is. It's set on 24/7. Let's go to board. Let's see. Let's go to default. Will that do it? That did not do it. All right. Let's try that again. There's the 15th. Let's get today live in there. You can see the weekly's pressing down on the dollar index. Let's see if that'll do it. We're waiting for that one to fill in. Now that's odd. They didn't like that one at all, did it? Let's try that one. That's not happy either. It's a real challenge this morning to get that thing to run right. That's interesting. All right. Anyway, let's go to the chat line. Make sure no one's asking any questions there. And there it is. Okay. Yep, good. It's showing there, and I don't see any questions by anybody on the chat line. So everybody's feeling the same way I woke up this morning. Exhausted. Tired. All right, let's see if I can find one more place to try to get this thing to update. And that is the dollar index. And we're just going to slide it into that again, I guess. Go with that. There you go. Close. That's Friday. That's not even showing us now today again. We had it in there for a little bit. Maybe the next tick will update it. That'll straighten it out. You can see the weekly right there. Because this, let's see, what are we getting on that? Let's find out what setting is on the weekly. Yep, not there. Cancel. Let's go to there. 27. Okay, so it's on the same setting. Okay, so the next tick, it will straighten out. That's what it comes down to.
Bulletin received.
There it goes. The next tick did. See, there it is. All right, so the dollar index is not exactly getting crushed, and so that's a little bit better, because it made me think that they were doing something to the interest rates out of nowhere. Because, and I'll say why. I'll show you why, not tell you why. Let's see, right there, right there. Look at the move that the S&P 500 has done today. Look at that. This is last night. It started off around here. This is basically the close of Friday, around the 85 area, and we are trading at 5,220 right there, as you can see. And it closed on Friday at, to be exact, 5,184, and now it's at 5,220. So it's 36 points higher. The Dow Jones Industrial Average were 100 points higher when we started this webinar. And the NASDAQ, or the Tech 100, is like 140 or 150 points higher. So they're really reaching in for this stuff this morning. Now, that's not that far-fetched. A lot of money managers may have thought over the weekend, I better grab a little bit more inventory. And then we may see like a sloppy sideways down market. Now, here's our daily chart on the stock market. We'll just show it to you. Right there. You can see it's went into the sell a couple days ago. Where's it? Right there. Went into the sell there. Let's put that in there. On Thursday, it went into the sell. It was down, up and down yesterday. Friday. And now today, you can see it's trying to climb into a buy. You see that strength that's kicking out right there. So they're reaching for it now. They're going to have to basically, maybe tomorrow they'll get us back into the sell. We'll see. But they're not letting go. And you can see the weekly is like 20 some odd weeks or something like that at this point. We've been in a weekly buy now since the last week of October. So all of November, December, January, February, and almost halfway through March now. So that's like 1 month, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 months. We're almost 5 months. That's a pretty strong, consistent market. It's like 20 some odd weeks. And that's where we are with the stock market. It's doing that. So, and the dollar index is not really going anywhere. Let's put that, and then, let's see, what do we do from there? Go like that. So the dollar index itself is not really doing anything dramatic. It's just, let's go back to it. It's just sideways, and the bonds are the same way. There's the dollar index pretty much sideways, doing nothing. And then when we go over and look at the 30-year bond right there, doing the same thing, kind of dead. It's when the bond price, remember, goes up, interest rates go down. So it's trying to do something on the positive side, but not anything dramatic. And we closed in a weekly sell, and now it's threatening a weekly buy all over again. What's curious is that it makes me suspicious when I look at this overall. The reason why I'm suspicious is that the dollar is influenced by, the currencies are influenced by the interest rates. And so the interest rates on the bonds are not moving, okay? But the stock market is moving. That's what makes me suspicious. Because to control the stock market is not very hard. To control the bond market is very, very hard. And so that's why when back in 2021, when I saw inflation kicking up, we saw the bonds lifting up. And we saw in other words, the prices were going down, and we saw the interest rates going up. And the chairman of the Federal Reserve and the head of the Treasury, Mrs. Yellen, and the President of the United States, the three of them kept on saying over and over again, this is transitory, don't worry about it. It means nothing. It'll go on for a couple of weeks or a month, or 2 months, something like that. It's got nothing to do with it. And after 15 months, they finally capitulated. Over 15 months went by before they were willing to do anything. And then they raised interest rates by a 0.25 percentage point and then kept on raising them after that. So the bonds are usually the truth. It's so rare for the bonds to be wrong. And when they're wrong, they move. That's why they refer to them as the bond vigilantes, because when they move at the speed of light, because it's not a listed market, it's an over-the-counter market, and so there's nobody there to catch the bonds and stop them from falling. And so the Federal Reserve can come in and buy just a certain amount to keep them steady, but they can't control the rate very easily when they're not able to step up and buy themselves. And that's what quantitative easing is that it's the Federal Reserve buying bonds right out. In other words, they print money and they buy bonds. It's not like the government has money laying around doing nothing and they go and buy those bonds to park them in there to make some money. It's the other way around. They actually print money that doesn't exist out of thin air, and they buy bonds. Now, when you have that much power and you still can't get interest rates down, that tells you that they don't control the bond market as much as people think they do. Okay? But they can control the stock market, and so the stock market goes roaring up because it's like to control the bond market would take, let's say if we said let's say it would take $100 to control the bond market. Well, to control the stock market, it would take something like 5 cents. So it's not even $1 for them to control the stock market. It's not even 99%. It's even worse. It's like 99.99. The stock market trades, some ridiculous thing like, and I'm going to say I call it ridiculous because I'm saying the bond market trades in size is the largest market on the planet, and they trade trillions a day, trillions, not billions, trillions. Okay, the stock market trades in billions, and 30, 40, 25 billion. The bond market trades in trillions. And so there's no controlling that. It's they can't just whip out trillions. But can the Federal Reserve pull 10 or 15 or 20 billion dollars and go move something? Sure, they do. That's literally a rounding number for them at given times. You have to imagine their auctions every other day or every day or every 3 days. Their auctions are in the 50, 60, 70 billion dollar area, $100 billion area. They have auctions. So I mean, they have plenty of dough to do that stuff, to move a stock market. All they have to do is throw $5 or $6 billion into a market, and that can disrupt it right there alone. They can catch the shorts and squeeze them. So that's why I'm suspicious when I see the dollar index going up or down. Relationship to the bonds, it should, but not to the stock market, and that's what we're seeing here now. You see the stock market, right there. There's the bond market. It's barely moving, and that's why it's almost a mirror image when you look at the bond market and you look at the currency market. They're mirror images. They're pretty steady and normal compared to the stock market. It's been in a weekly buy forever, so people go, "Wow, well, my retirement fund's going up," or the stocks are firm, not all of them, but some of them. This is good. That type of thing. In other words, it's a way of spinning the narrative, I guess you could say. All right, I'm done on that. I've been torturing the Fed for 15, 20 minutes now. So let's go over to the euro. This is a currency webinar, and we always start off with currencies. So we start off with the dollar index, and then we drift right to the euro, the second most active currency in the world, right behind the dollar. There it is right there. It's been in a sell for 3 days. It's a little firm again today. It's in a weekly buy this is the third week now. Very firm. You see that there. And just pointing it out right there. Can you see that there? I guess you can. Yeah. See that action right there? Let's see if you should see the pointer. There you go. It's on the. You can see it on the screen there now. And so that's where we're at with the euro. And then when we go over and look at the cable. Oh, and you know what? Let me do this too. I just want to take a look at the intraday action in the euro. But if anybody would like to see anything, just put up on the chat line. You don't have to do anything more than put a symbol up there, and I'll take a look at it. There is. See, let's find the intraday right there, and there it is right there. There's the intraday. Ooh, look at that smackdown. What's that all about? Fell down from the 109.05 area down to the 108.94. So 15 points. And we went into the sell. Where did we go into the sell? We went into the sell. We must have had news come out. Remember, the webinar now, news comes out right on the opening of the webinar itself. So we must have had something go on. Let's go over to Dukascopy and let's take a look at let's see what's in the news today. Let's see, where's it at? Let's go to the calendar. Calendar, where are you, calendar? About, we have a calendar around here somewhere. I use it all the time. Let me do this. I have that up there. Let's go and find it here instead. Market trading, maybe? No, imported. Nope, that's not it. All right, what we'll do is we'll go back to the size and switch machines, and we'll put it up on this screen in here. Let's see. Let's go right to there. And let's find it. There's the calendar of Dukascopy, the economic calendar. Here it comes. There it is right there. There's the economic calendar. And this week, these are all the economic things that are going on in the Dukascopy calendar. And at the same time, you can see today, let's click on today. There's today. At 8:30, they had industrial prices. Okay, so, no, that's Canadian. They had the housing market index come out. Okay, that has some, no, that's at 10 o'clock. So that's interesting. It didn't, I don't know what 8:30 did, but it surely didn't do, it wasn't the American calendar because the American statistics. Did somebody in Europe? Canada did. Canada had some raw material prices in industrial. We don't see news like that, and it's low to begin with. See where it says the impact on the market? Oh, they're low. The only one that's high is the Japanese, the BOJ interest rate decision. That must be tonight coming. Okay, so that'll be interesting. All right, and then tomorrow, let's see what comes at 8:30 our time tomorrow. Now, 8:30 tomorrow, building permits, housing starts, building permits again, and month-over-month housing starts. And then the Red Book, Johnson Red Book comes out at about 25 minutes into our webinar. And then you see right there, a 52-week bill auction, total net flows. There's all kinds of stuff that goes on. All right, good. That's that. So why did they smack at 8:30 our time, the start of the webinar? Why did they smack the euro? Huh. Interesting. And if anybody knows, put it up on the screen. What economic data that excited them. Giannis must be not around. No one's saying anything. Let's see. Not really seeing anything. Well, that is the euro. That's the intraday. That's why I wanted to see the intraday to get a flavor of what's going on. And that red line, dotted line there, represents when it went into the sell. All right, let's go over to the cable. Let's see, where's it? Right there? Nope, not there. Right there. There's the cable. And cable's been in a daily sell for 5 days now. Weekly buy for 3 weeks. This is the third week starting. So, and it's not really challenging the manifold, so I'm not really thinking that this is anything more than just some profit taking from the move. And when we scrunch it up, where you can see it further out, you can see it's, we went into a weekly buy back in here in the 120-ish area and climbed all the way up to the 128 area. Went into the sell there in the 127-ish area, and it fell down to the 125 and went back into the weekly buy last week, or 3 weeks ago back now. Went into the buy at the very beginning of the week in the 126.5 area. Ran all the way to 128. What's the high there? 128.93, almost the 129 area. So it's, and this again has that plateau thing going on. In other words, it doesn't look like they're really pushing it down. When we scrunch it up, you can see, it's kind of, there it is on the screen. You can see how far back, it just kind of, it ran up to the 133 area, something like that, and then backed off all the way back down to the 20. That's where we got that last bottom you can see right there. I don't see any real weakness at the moment. Matter of fact, at this point, I kind of think the currencies are trying to anticipate a better American economy. And when they do that, they show a better American economy, that usually, pushes those things up. That's what does that. So, in price against the dollar, gains against the dollar, pushes it up, gaining against the dollar. All right, let's go over to the Swiss and see what the Swiss is up to this morning. There's the Swiss, still firm in a buy for 4 days, and a weekly buy for 10 weeks, 3, 6. This is the 9th week now, starting a buy. Notice that the green line is starting to break down the weekly manifold a little bit, so there's some pressure on it. I just because I know that they're fighting inflation. They've laid out their policy. They've made it very clear where their heads are at over in Switzerland, and they're not going to be trapped the way the Federal Reserve was here in the States, where they pretended for a year and a quarter that there was no inflation. So they're taking care of business now. So that's going to just make this currency more valuable as time goes on. Especially if interest rates start to top out over the next 6 to 9 months, over the next year, they start to top out. That's going to put more downwardly price action on the Swiss against the dollar, which means the Swiss is gaining against the dollar. Now, if we start gaining here as an economy again, like we did under the Trump years, then that's going to be very interesting. Money's going to be running. Have to choose places to run to. Which ones are the best place to be invested in. And I think that there's great opportunity in a lot of places. So I just think that in the end result is I think overall I am bearish on the dollar, but not crazy bearish. In other words, I think it wants to go down more or hang out around here. I'm not. The last time Mr. Trump was president, the dollar went all the way up to like 115. That's a pretty bold move. I would kind of think it would hang out down in this area here, and money will run here, of course, because good returns. But I just don't. I'm not negative a lot of pairs at the moment. We'll have to see then. It's awful hard to talk about what's going to happen in a 12-month period. That's why we follow markets on a weekly. You can see it here, a daily right here, and a weekly right here. Algorithms separately. So you match the two together. They're usually, in other words, when you're in that weekly buy and you get daily buys like this one, it was right here. Where's that at? So when you get a daily buy like that, and it has a habit of going up in value. And then when it goes into a sell, the thing is going down, but we don't take the shorts. We only play the longs. In this case here, that long was a bad long. And then this long was a bad long, and then this one made everything back from those other two bad, and this one obviously made 5 times or 10 times more than the two lost. So, and then now it's doing it again right there. So this is the dailies have to line up with the weeklies, and then you let them reiterate it each week, and that's like the safest, best way to follow these things. All right, from there we'll go over to the yen, since yen has news tonight. Interesting. I'm glad we looked at it on the Dukascopy calendar. You can see it's definitely losing against the dollar for the last 6 days right there. It's in a buy for the last 5 days right there, or 4 days. I guess it's 4 right here. Went into the buy on that one, and the weekly slid into the sell 2 weeks back, and so far this is not turning, so I'm not that concerned. Just not that concerned whatsoever. How about that? The Washington Post is asking for the vice president to resign. Let's see what else we got. So there is the yen. Let's slide over to, I guess, the great experiment at this point. Let's take a look at that. Oh, look at that. Wonder what drove that down. Nice move. It's done and over with at this point. Look at that. Slammed down to the 34 area, and now we're back up in the 35. If it closed right there tonight, that would be an all-time closing high. Yeah. I'm sorry. Closing close. Sorry about that. There is the all-time closing high 4 days ago right there. Oh, no, closing high. Not a closing high. High. All-time high right there. And then it missed it there. And obviously it brought it down to here, but right now it's just, that's the all-time closing high right there if it closes here today. And that is the Turkish lira against the euro. From there we slide over to the South African rand. There's the rand. It's been in the daily buy for 3 days now. Let's put that line in there. So there it is, 3 days in a buy, and this is the South African Rand, which usually means there's pressure on the metals complex. So let's go over and take a look at like silver and gold and so forth. Let's put it up on the screen here. Right there. And you can see it's been in the sell for 5 days now. And so over in the beta, it's in a sell for 5 days. Let's see, 4 days. Actually, it's tried to flip back up. They're showing a lot more strength than what we're seeing, but in the end result is that'll get straightened out as time goes on from the exchange. But over on the beta, it's showing that. But over here, it's 4 days in a sell at this point. And it hasn't really gone anywhere. When you go back and look at the South African Rand, it is looking much weaker, and you would assume that we'd see even more and more weakness in the metals complex. And from there, we go back over to the silver. Let's take a look at silver. There's silver. Silver is still in a buy. It's so underpriced at this point. It's trading at 50% away from its all-time high, where gold is 3% or something like that, away from its all-time high, 2%. So it's definitely underpriced when you compare it to the gold. And you can see silver's been in a weekly buy now for going on a 7th week. It's acting awful strong in there. Whereas over on our beta, let's see what it looks like there. And that's been climbing up. 4 solid days in a buy. It's showing 9 weeks in a buy on the beta. Let me just show you that. Now the silver's acting well compared to the gold on the beta. The beta is being a little wacky all of a sudden. The prices. We'll see. It'll clean itself up. The exchange always does. Let's see, where are we at there now? So from silver, we go over to. We've been watching copper climb, so we're just assuming. On Friday, we were anticipating, we were thinking that copper may be climbing because they're going to sell TikTok. And that would bring $100 or $150 billion back to China. And if they do that, that could be pretty cool. The country could use it. We're talking about a country that $150 billion means a lot. I mean, a lot. We've seen corporations in China that are worth $11 or $12 billion not be able to find $1 million or $15 or $20 million, and they're supposedly worth, or they have debt of $11 or $12 or $15 billion, and they can't find $15 million to stay in business. We've seen them go bankrupt, and we've seen them go into stewardship. Sipping my tea there. If TikTok sells for $125 or $150 billion, it's gonna really help the economy over there. It's a very small economy. I think we have it. I have the Chinese economy valued around in the $4 or $5 billion area. It's about the same size as like Japan and Germany or the European Union. The European Union is a $21 trillion economy, and so I don't think China is any more than 5 or 6 or 7 trillion. Like Japan or like Germany, or it's like a cross between them all. The pretending. Remember, they have a fixed currency, and so when they say they're worth 20 trillion or 15 trillion, it's in a fixed currency. So in other words, if they change the price of the currency, let's put it this way, if the Chinese currency moved like the way the ruble did, floating, it would be somewhere around a $5 or $6 or $7 trillion economy. That's all it would be. So that's the problem with the media, is that they don't know what they're talking about talking about the Chinese economy, and it's getting ready to be number one and things like that. It can't be number one because it doesn't have a currency. I mean, how do you become a number one economy in the world without a currency? So they have a yuan that they use as a converting factor to transfer money, but it only trades 2.5% to 3% a day. That's about it. It's very small. All right, from there we go over to the last one. We'll go over to platinum. Platinum is flirting with a sell today, and you can see the weekly is in a buy for 3 weeks, but the platinum, that's the front month contract is switching, and that's why it's all screwed up like that. I have to actually put it in directly, put in the month. This should straighten out over the next day. I think I might do that after the webinar. I'll put the correct currency in there, the correct month. So, all right, that shows us the metals complex, and South Africa is telling us in some ways that it's not that happy, or they have just more problems than even we anticipate. We do know that South Africa has a lot of political problems, and so it's for many years now, since they got the ANC in charge of everything, it's turned it into a real mud hole. It's a shame. Wish the Zulus had gotten control instead of the ANC. Oh, anyhow, that's besides the point. Let's go over to energies. We'll take a look at energies and crude oil. And there's crude oil. It's still inching its way up. You can see that right there. And 4 days in a buy. You can see it's now something like 9 weeks in a buy there. 8 weeks in a buy. Let's take a look at Brent. Here's North Sea oil, looking the same way. 8 weeks in a buy, daily 4 days, and it's flirting above, or right now it's actually a little bit underneath the 86 area, whereas the American crude oil, West Texas Intermediate, is around the 81 area. And then from there, let's show you the natural gas. We'll put that up on. Let's do it on this way. Go back to the old platform. There's natural gas, and it's flirting away with it's trying to get into a buy today. You can see it's pushing up. It's been in a weekly sell for 8 or 9 weeks, something like that. Let's see. Let's scrunch that up a little bit. Yeah, so it went into the sell 3, 6, 7 weeks ago. 7 weeks ago it went into the sell. And came down from the $2.25 area down to $1.50. Today it's trading at $1.74. It's showing some interesting life in it. It gets that way every so often. We see it pop, and then all of a sudden it rolls over again. How about that? The rate. I'm not sure. We'll just have to check that back later on. All right. So from there, let's see. Where do we go from there? We go to the energy company in Spain, and we've been watching that stock trade in the. Let's put it up over here. That stock has traded in the the $19 to $20 area back and forth, and it came down from $28, which was pretty high. And now you can see. Let's put it up on this screen right here. There it is, right there. Is that it? No, not there. There it is, right there. And you can see it's trying to move down. It is. It has been trying to move down. And we're pretty much thinking that it's going to, stay down here for at least the next couple months. And then imagine if Mr. Trump wins in November, that just as the energy energy contracts start to get life in them, going into the winter, if Mr. Trump wins, then what happens is that you're going to see energy prices come down even more. He's going to drive them down. He'll knock them down 60, 70%. He'll take energy prices down, 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 down like he did before. We saw crude oil one day drop to a minus $39 a contract. Minus, just like the bonds. We did it. It was live when we were doing the webinar, and we were watching it. And I kept on saying, this thing's going to go minus. This thing's going to go minus. And all of a sudden, it breaks it and goes like minus $1. And then it pops back up about $1. And then after that, it rolls over. Next thing you know, it's down $10. Then it was down $39 at one point. Obviously, only if you could take delivery could you buy it. And that's what they did in the end result. By the end of the day, it closed up $1 or something like that. And then it went flying up to like $8 or $9, I think. But that's the classic Trump economy. You know, it's good for the people. It's good for corporations. There's less expenses and less pressure on them. So it'll be fun. We'll be watching this live here on our webinars, and it'll be very interesting to see the economy turn around again, just like we've seen before. We showed that, during the Trump years, you could almost literally predict it. It was very easy to predict. It was very successful times. So that's why he's ahead in the polls everywhere, is because people remember it's only 3.5, 4 years ago. And so people were like, wait a minute, why did we vote this guy out? And which is really odd is that it's never ever happened before that a sitting president got more votes than ever before. Mr. Trump is is in the record books right now. Even in last election, he was the sitting president. He got more votes than any other sitting president in history. So now the big question will be is, can Mr. Biden do that? Will there be more votes for Mr. Biden this time than next time? And if there is, then you really got to question what's going on. Something's really weird there. I know one thing for sure. Mr. Trump's going to get an enormous amount of votes. Enormous. Because the country is screaming for him at this point. They want him. Anyhow, that will be the energy situation. It'll be fascinating. I think it's going to be totally exciting. To see energy prices come down into the 50s and the 40s and the $30 area. And that puts more money in people's pockets. So makes people live life a little bit easier and a lot better. Let's put it that way. All right. From there, we go over to, let's see, that was natural gas, and that is the energy company in Spain. So we'll go over to, where do we go from here? We go over to the stock markets around the world, see what's going on there. So let's go take a look at Asia. Let's see how Asia played itself out starting the first day of the week. There is, over the weekend I didn't get the Philippines. I wanted to put the Philippines into the on here. We'll do that. Try to do that this evening, or just after the webinar. So here is the Nikkei. The Nikkei made a big jump. Look at that. It really lifted that up. That was a pretty big action there. What a gap. And then from there, let's go take a look at the Kospi. Now, Kospi was up also, but not that big a jump, and still in the sell. But it's the good thing about all of it, I guess you could say, is it's in the weekly buy. Let me go back to the Nikkei, see what the weekly buy looks like. There's the Nikkei. Nikkei is a little shaken, for that gap. You see it's jumped up there, but my doubts, I don't know, we'll have to see. I wonder where else I can go to see what the Nikkei did. And then you can see it there. And then from there we go over to the Hang Seng. Where is that at? Hang Seng. Where are you, Hang Seng? And there it is right there. There's Hong Kong. Hong Kong was up also, but still red dot and in a sell. Still pushing in that sell. And the weekly is pressing down. They're definitely pressing it down into the weekly. Then let's see the Hang Seng. There it is right there, the Hang Seng. And you can see there's a Hang Seng. And you can see right there the weekly, it is still in a weekly buy in the Hang Seng. And you can see the stock market was about flat to up a little bit like the rest of them. Definitely up, that was for sure. From there, we'll go over to let's look at the Taipei. There's the Taipei. Taipei was up. It closed in a buy. You can see it's been in a weekly buy for 10 weeks. So Taiwan's market's looking very good. We'll look at the Nifty 50 out of India right there. Same thing. You can see it's in a buy. And you can see it's up today from Friday. And the only thing is, look at that weekly. It's putting some pressure on it. Putting a little pressure there. After, what's that, 9 weeks? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 weeks in a buy, it's pressing into the sell. That's curious. Interesting. All right, and then from there we go to the All Ordinaries in Australia. And that's about the same, just trying to be plus by a hair. But notice it's been in the sell for off and on now for 4 out of the last 5 days. And it's still holding on by the hair of its chinny chin on a weekly buy for like the last, what's it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 weeks? 10 weeks. Huh. All right, and that is the Asian, the Pacific, basically, and Indian Ocean. You know, India's in the Indian Ocean, so I mean, it's that's basically there. Let's go from there to we should do a couple more. I think I'm going to work on putting a couple more, like maybe we should put the Israeli one in there because that's a strong stock market. And we should put, let's see, Riyadh. Maybe Riyadh has a stock market. I know they do. Dubai has a stock market. We should put the Dubai stock market in there. And we should do all of that, area. Trying to get the best markets. We'll have to look around in there. And so then from there, we go over to the, I guess you'd say, Europe. Let's take a look at the DAX. And there's the DAX. It's you see, was that down for the day? Yeah, or about unchanged. Everything seems to be unchanged. So let's see who this is dinging from. There we go. Okay, so from there, let's see. Let's see, where am I at here? That was the DAX. So the DAX is showing that pressure. Let's go over and take a look at the CAC 40 in Paris. That's doing the same thing. It's heading down. And you can see that right there. It's heading. It's like flat too. It's trying to get into the sell. You can see the daily is trying to get into the sell there, but the weekly's been in a buy for a while now. Ever since it started off in the 7,400 area, it's run to the 82. It's a $600 move on an $8,000 index. It's a good move. And then we'll look at the FTSE. Here's the FTSE, and the FTSE, same situation. We're seeing the weekly is pressing into still in a buy for 9 weeks, and you can see it's in a sell for 2 days, and you can see the pressure on that. Now we'll drift over to the U.S. market. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see what the SPY says on there. Does it do that? Not yet, because it's not ticking yet. But let's see what that does. Let's go like right there to the futures contract, and there is the S&P 500 right there. Alrighty. And you can see right there the weekly, same situation. It looks like they're starting to update. I think something's happened. They've finally fixed the platform. I think the platform is updating at the correct time too. I'm really excited about that. I can't wait. Let's see. What else can we say? I guess that's that. Now let's go over to the where's it at? The NASDAQ. There's the Tech 100. And Tech 100 lifting. You can see it's lifting. Now, did the S&P show the lift? Yeah, it showed the lift too. But it's in the sell. And they're trying to get into the buy. Now let's go back to the NQs. The NQs have been in a sell for a while. You can see they're really lifting up today, and it's showing it. And our algorithm is updating now. Exactly. Okay, from there, we'll go over to, where do we go over to? Go over to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, right there. And you can see right there, you know, it's climbing like everybody else. You know, they're all trying to lift them up. And you can see right there, the weekly is holding on tight there. Nice. Very nice. Let's see what Apple looks like. Apple is... Huh. Okay. Interesting. Getting closer, that's for sure. Let's see. How about this one? Qs. It'll be interesting. Okay, that is the 15th. We're just waiting for the 17th to start. When it starts, it might get these things all moving right. Very good. Let's see what that looks like. Yep, nice. Looks like everything is starting to really function right. Bristol-Myers Squibb showing us the 15th. Exactly. All right, good. All right, traders. Let's take a look at one last index on the North American continent, and that is the Russell 2000. You can see the Russell lifting up very strong today. It's been in a daily sell now for, I don't know, 6 days. And it's climbing into the weekly sell as we speak right now. So that'll be something interesting to watch at the same time. But I can say this, and Robin, if you're listening, it looks like they fixed the daily and the weeklies. So we'll see how it goes with the stock market in the next 4 or 5 minutes. So anyhow, this is Doc from North America. And what we'll do is we'll see you same time, same channel tomorrow. And I'll remember to hit the start streaming tomorrow. I was so excited to get going. I was yakking like a minute before even. I was so hungry to talk about the markets. So anyhow, we'll catch you all again tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you and to all my trading friends on the webinars. Ta-ta for now, traders. Hey, hey, hey.